This is from the New York Times. This is from about a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
As a woman was raped, train riders failed to intervene, police say. And this was just the first story I was able to pull up. About 5 years ago now, I think it was 5 years ago, I did a video on my main channel, Men Are Refusing to Help Women and Children. It got millions of views. And it was just like this 15-minute thing of me talking about it. There were a handful of stories. One, a woman was on a train and some guy started getting in her face, schmoozing on her and being really aggressive, and no man would intervene. And then she was really angry and she was like, why wouldn't any man stand up for me? Well, there's a lot of reasons why they won't do it. Another story I read years ago, this may be like 10 years ago now at this point. A guy was in a store and there was a journalist who was in a store, saw a child crying with no parent, seemingly lost.
Yeah.
And she said, I saw a man walk towards this kid, looking at the kid, concerned, then stopped, looked around, turned around and walked away. They ran up to the child, like this person, and got a security guard to help the person. And then the reporter said she then ran to the man and asked him why he turned around and didn't help the kid. And the man said, because I would be accused of having kidnapped that kid and I don't want to be involved. That is a crazy prospect that we have this story from Philadelphia where a woman was being raped on the train in front of people. And what did they do? Most of them just said, leave me alone. Some of them started filming. No one did anything. There's a lot of reasons why men are outright refusing to help women. One, I think some men have disdain for modernity. That we're in this era of toxic, masculinity is toxic. Women can do whatever they want and, without consequence. That's how they feel. I'm not saying it's true. And so you'll get a guy who's probably watching him and be like, screw him, I don't care. Not my problem. Whereas there is an inverted. I was just watching The Imitation Game about Alan Turing, and it's such BS because he didn't crack Enigma. I was reading up on it. It was like some Polish guy actually who did, but he built the machine. But anyway, he's trying to recruit this woman, and she's like, it would be indecorous of me to come and work for His Majesty because it would be around men. And so then he's like, you can work and be in the women's dorms, and then he can't go to her place because he's a man. That's the alternative, right? A society where the men and women are separated. When the men are overprotective, you get that. When the men feel like they're not allowed to protect women and children, they'll be punished, imprisoned, or insulted for being masculine. You get the inverse. Is there a happy medium? Or what do you guys feel about this? I'll just say, like, someone super chatted, we're not allowed to protect women and children anymore, so why would we? And I'm like, what can I say to that?
Yep. And your cops don't even protect you. Look at Uvalde.
If I'll tell you this, if this woman's being raped,
maybe women have given off an impression that we don't want to be protected or loved or looked after. Maybe that's the problem. And maybe it should be up to each woman what is the best for her. I think that's important. But like, I've come out and said it, like, I want to be protected. I want to be loved. I don't want to be out here doing this alone. I don't want to be fighting these demons and ghouls alone. Like, it sucks. I'm scared. I actually am scared. I'm scared I'm going to get killed.
I think a lot of people have a problem facing that darkness and they choose to just turn away. I think a lot of our society has promoted like widespread nihilism.
I've had a lot of fathers, tell me they can't look.
Well,
they can't look at what I'm thinking about, what I'm talking about, what I'm posting. But I don't want to, you struck something in me, Tim, and I don't want to forget it. I do understand why people are very skeptical of these stories. Yeah. You should be a little, but not to the point where you harass survivors. What can I do as a survivor, as a public survivor, and as an advocate to at least maybe convey the story better? I don't know what I can do to make people believe. People don't believe my story. they
evidence.
Yeah.
Just getting.
But what evidence are survivors supposed to bring? Because it's like we bring evidence and it's always not enough. Well, it's never enough. It's like always something.
Well, look at Amber Heard.
Okay.
She writes this op-ed where it's vague, and she has this narrative that Johnny Depp is the bad guy. And then the full story kind of comes out and it's like, well, they're both kind of ish heads to each other, but she was definitely being abusive towards him. And so what happens is you have this long-standing, it's been out a decade or longer, believe all women. And our legal system's built upon innocent until proven guilty and the right to confront your accusers.
Yes.
So immediately people take issue with anonymous accusations without evidence. I mean, that's especially with Julian Assange being falsely accused. That pissed off a lot of people, especially the anti-war movement, because then they dropped it and it was fake to begin with, and they used it as an excuse to lock this guy up for a decade and prevent him from doing his work.
Yeah, Assange was accused of rape. A lot of people don't know this.
No, he wasn't even accused of rape. It was like it was.
But that's what the corporate media ran with.
Exactly.
The corporate media ran with Julian Assange, rapist. You know, that was a huge story that, of course, allowed the general public to be like, yeah, he's guilty. Yeah, maybe he should be in jail. And then they put him up in solitary. And they have to run away.
If this story about the train in the New York Times, here's the problem. If a guy on that train grabbed the man who was raping that woman and stopped him, then he would probably get arrested and charged.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah.
He would. But I think what's important is that we're having this conversation, right?
And I actually I have a question for the audience. That's I got a question. If let's try and figure out how I can phrase this for you guys. Put a 1 in the chat if you would attack the rapist to stop him, knowing you would get locked up in jail, and put a 2 in chat if you would not want to risk your freedom and life for a random woman. Did that work? Did that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, actually.
I think the truly masculine, the real masculine, is a man saying, let them come. I'm not letting this man hurt this woman. That's in line with the come and take it. You will try to aggress upon me. You will try to infringe upon my rights, but I will stand firm on what I know to be true. But there's going to be a lot of people who are maybe more cynical. And I don't even mean this in a disrespectful way, because I can understand it, where they're like, dude, if they want to keep advocating for this and voting for it, if 70% of millennial women be voting for these policies, why would I go to jail for them when they asked for it? And I mean, like, ask for the policies, not obviously to be attacked.
So one of my rules is that I'm not. So sometimes
it's split in the chat. It's 1s and 2s.
Sometimes I want to. So it's difficult as a human to hear some of these stories, especially about children, and not want to seek vigilante justice. So I understand those who do, but I am of no use if I'm in prison or jail because I decided to go out on a freaking LARP and do things whatever way.
But so it's like you're on a train and a guy grabs a woman and throws her down.
Yeah.
And he's on the train raping her. And there is people saying, like, if I intervene, not only will I get hurt, but I'll get arrested. I'm not doing it. That's crazy to me. Maybe I'm wrong.
I've never seen a sexual. I mean, I don't. Well, let me make sure I'm not. I don't think I've never been in that situation. So it's really difficult to know what you would do. I mean, does this gentleman have a knife? Does he have a gun? Like, is he I mean, what are we talking?
This is why I'm an anarchist, because number one,
you see how big he smiled when he said that. And
look, I'm serious. I'm serious. This is an argument to be made here. It's not a perfect argument, but the police are slow to respond. Right? This happened in Philadelphia, where people can't defend themselves. If a woman was able to have a gun and be able to defend herself, these larger sexual assault crimes, these larger rapes, wouldn't be happening as much as they are happening, mainly because a lot of women are left defenseless. And the one way to have this equalizer is to allow people to be able to defend themselves, which is illegal in places like Pennsylvania, which is absolutely crazy. But again, there's been so many instances of police officers watching people getting stabbed, getting hurt, and just not doing anything, not responding. So
I want to add too, in terms of the chat and the super chats, the debate, the people who disagree with you, but other people who are making other points, I'm really digging this. Like, everybody who's commenting saying you're wrong, I disagree. Everybody who's commenting saying I can't believe people wouldn't help her. Everybody who's saying, like, how could you, if the machine is going to come against you and this is what they're voting on? That, like, I think the discussion absolutely is just fantastic. So,
but
shout
it's
out to the
good.
chat.
It's good that we're having these conversations. Talking about it is better than. And also, one of the things that I love is when you think through these situations before you're actually in one, because these are all things that could happen to you in real life. This is not a movie. This is not a test. Mm-hmm. So you should be thinking through in advance what you would do. And to what Luke was just saying, I am a fully armed survivor of human trafficking. No two ways about it.
Yep.
No discussion.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So
more
and
guns.
I encourage no, we're not going to talk about all that. But
more personal liberty and more ability
Yes.
for human beings to be able to defend themselves equally against criminals who will always have firearms and weapons.
it took me a while to get there. I had a conversation with Maj Toure because I was always very scared of guns.
Maj is great.
Oh yeah, he's great, isn't he? And I had a conversation with Maj Toure, and my mom and I went, and we got geared up for her 60th birthday, so it was really fun. But and now I feel very empowered, and I feel ready. I just don't want to be abused again or have anything happen, and I feel like that's the only great equalizer in my case.
And training. Don't forget to train.
No,
you have to train
that's part
a
of it
lot,
too.
You know.
Yeah, that's part of it too.
You know what? The terrifying reality I think is the people in these cities like Philadelphia would prefer more rape victims and less dead rapists. And there's an interesting idea there. I don't want anyone dead. But think about, I was thinking about this in terms of guns. If this woman on the train had a gun, even like a Derringer with like a 22 in it or something, this guy would have gotten off her real fast and he'd probably survive. But there's a reality that, one, a woman should be able to protect herself if a man is trying to take her. I believe she should be allowed to use whatever force necessary to protect herself from that man. But this would mean that man dies. Now, the left's argument, you see it all the time. There was like, I can't remember the story, but there's been a bunch of them where a guy was like breaking into someone's house and he got shot and killed, and they go, you didn't have to kill him. You could have let him victimize you. And then it's just like, why is it incumbent upon the victim to assume they're going to survive the attack instead of using whatever force they can to try and survive the attack? So the logic of the left on this tends to be they would rather the rape victim get raped and survive because it means both people live than the woman not get raped but then kill somebody. You see what I mean? Like that's their logic.
Okay.
There was a guy like robbed a liquor store. Yeah. And then he got shot and killed. And they were like, but you didn't have to kill him. You didn't have to kill him. And the guy's like, he came in with a gun to my liquor store. I thought I was going to die. No, he was just robbing you. He was just robbing you. This is the sad reality. I don't want anybody to die.
Yeah, you don't know until you're in that situation. And if it's a life or death situation.
And it could be.
And it very well could be. You don't know what level of insanity you're dealing with.
I don't want to live in a world where it's the victim's fault or responsibility for having been attacked. I think if you are being victimized, you have a right to defend yourself with whatever force you have available to you. And I think you have a right to keep and bear arms. That means in this circumstance, that rapist would have died. And that I got to be honest, I don't like this guy.
Or had his
nuts
shut off.
For sure. Or seriously injured. I don't want him injured. Look, I want him stopped.
Yep.
And if the only way to stop him, because women have less muscle mass, less bone density, is to be armed, and that means this guy gets shot, I would rather the woman not be raped and this guy gets stopped. But it is horrifying to be like, there's an end result where someone gets hurt. Well, you know what? Don't attack people because it is your fault. My view is, if you're a rapist who attacks a woman and then you get shot, you should be criminally responsible for that bullet to yourself because you initiated the aggression.
And with how incompetent police officers are, or lazy when it comes to prosecuting and actually getting actual justice here, that's going to be maybe one of the sure ways to actually get some kind of redemption here.
If you are committing a crime and then someone dies in the process of that crime, you, the criminal, are responsible. So, for example, you and a friend, or let's say Guy A and Guy B rob a liquor store. Liquor store clerk shoots and kills Guy B. Guy A, in many states, will get charged for that. Like, there's other circumstances too. Probably a better way to describe it is, if you're in the act of committing a crime and a bystander has a heart attack and dies, they will charge you for, in many states.
Interesting.
My view of this, if you are I don't care who the person is. If you are a criminal and you're attacking a woman or anybody, and then you get shot, you should get charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, even though someone else shot you. You started it. It's your fault. Maybe that's a little aggressive, but I don't know if the law has actually stopped the crimes. I actually just kind of feel like if these cities allowed people to keep and bear arms, I think Philadelphia is not good, but Pennsylvania tends to be. Ain't nobody's going to attack a woman if they know she's strapped.
Yeah, but they're promoting lawlessness with this.
It would be nice to not have to be strapped.
Yeah, but this
that would be nice.
I agree.
But I know it's not utopia, and I can't live in I get it. I mean, there are evil people in the world, regardless of what happens or whatever laws put in place. You have to be prepared to defend yourself.
And even 200 years ago, it was bears, wolves, coyotes.
Yeah.
There was always danger.
But in Ancapistan,
there always is
things
danger.
will be a little different.
I mean, there's nothing getting rid of danger. I mean, bad people will always find a way to have guns.
Not danger. I'm saying we'll deal with things differently.
Did you ever see that video, Luke? We probably talked about it, where the guy's playing the game City States. Have you ever heard this, Shane?
Yes, we talked about this many times, and it proves what I've been talking about for a very long time.
It's a video game. So
it's real life, okay?
It's a video game where you build a city-state, buildings, factories, apartments, housing, etc., and you set policies. More taxes, lower taxes, more authoritarian with police, less. And so this guy, I think you guys are going to know who he is because it's such a good video. He's like, I'm going to get rid of all government, no taxes, just let everything go crazy. It's going to be a crime-ridden hellhole. So eventually he's like, wait, what's happening? There were ski resorts everywhere. There was zero poverty. Everything was a skyscraper. Every citizen was super wealthy. And he's like, what's going on? How is this happening? There's like no government.
Thank you. Can we try this experiment once?
Yeah.
I mean, and even when it was practiced somewhat, like in Singapore or in Hong Kong, especially with the larger financial ramifications of a laissez-faire kind of government, we had that. We had prosperity. We had so much people progressing and getting wealthy and getting rich and helping each other, and so much less poverty whenever the government doesn't intervene. And when they do, they're just acting like thugs. They're just acting like gangsters, getting a cut of their money, screwing everyone else over. And this is why I think the biggest enemy towards humanity is big government, and we should always try to be pushing against it as much as we can.
Do you
I
think
love
that's
Luke
still
so
possible
much.
with like the population we have now who is so like subservient?
There's going to be a messy period where there's going to be a lot of people winning Darwin Awards, but maybe they deserve to win Darwin Awards, right? No, let's be real.
I understand.
Like, would you rather have people win Darwin Awards, or would you rather have the federal government use your tax dollars in order to send small children to private islands so people could go there and do something else? What's the lesser of two evils? Waging war, nuclear holocaust. We could get into it. Bioweapons. We could get into it. What's the lesser of two evils? What's going to lead to less harm? In my personal opinion, what I'm describing.
I want to stress this again. Like, the people who are chatting, super chatting, arguing, and very defensive of Tate, the people who are, there's less, critical of him. I just got to say, like, I feel like this discussion is one of the best discussions we've had on a variety of issues, to be completely honest. Like, again, agreed with all of the people who are disagreeing and arguing in defense of or against. Like, this feels substantive.
No, I love the conversation. This is the thing that people don't realize about me. Regardless if it's good or bad, or if people are talking trash on me or talking about my story or whatever, I'm just happy we are having these conversations. We used to live in a time where a survivor, if they wanted to release a statement, would have to wait for the corporate press to care and then green light it for it to maybe be in the back of the New York Times. Now, I'm a survivor of human trafficking who served survivors, came up here on independent media, told you folks, and now it's out to many people, and we can all talk about it, but we're still talking about human trafficking, domestic violence, sex abuse, child sexual abuse material. We are talking about these things, and let me tell you, it makes predators big mad. Predators down bad and abusers down bad. And that's the way it should be. I think that before I was searching for this answer, like, well, where are the men? Well, maybe it's you gentlemen here giving me the platform to have the conversation so that we can keep the conversation going and other survivors don't feel alone. Maybe that is what men are doing, and maybe I wasn't seeing the full vision.
Well, men should also be protecting women in public as well.
Thanks for watching this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. Hang out with us live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. and become a member over at timcast.com for uncensored, members-only shows exclusive. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all next time.